I have a question before you do that. I'm so sorry.
All right. So, hey, I'm Nate Twichell. I am the co-director for Agape Year, and with us we have two former fellows from Agape Year 2.0. We've got Kieran coming to you from Florida and Tessa from Massachusetts. This is recorded during the COVID-19 pandemic, so we are all isolating in our homes. But I wanted to give a short recording here from these guys, from their experience raising support for their Agape Year, which is now a little bit in the past, so they can look back with fondness at something that was maybe a little bit challenging at the time. But I wanted to ask Kieran and Tessa kind of their experiences with support raising, so that they can share some encouragement for you as you think about Agape Year and think about how you're going to get your funds together for your year. So Tessa, why don't you go first? I wanted to ask, when you first thought about the fact that you were going to be raising, in your case, $9,500 for your year, what were your first thoughts as you saw that number?
Oh God, how am I going to raise this much money? I didn't think it was possible. I'd never met anyone who raised that much money before, so it didn't seem possible to me.
Yeah. How about you, Kieran? What was your first thought when you saw that sum and started to think about what you were going to have to do?
Well, I kind of had the opposite reaction. I was like, they'll give me the money. Like, that won't be an issue, which was not maybe like the best mental thought. But this is because someone in my church went on the world race, and you have to raise $13,000 for that. So I was like, oh, they already sent her. They'll send me. It's like, only 3/4 of the price. Like, no big deal.
So you mentioned your church there.
Yeah.
So did your church come alongside you in partnership? And how did you ask them, or how did that process go? Do you remember?
Yeah. So, I used the tested Agape Year method of making a list of everyone that you possibly think of on there, no matter how much you feel like people are going to respond or not. You just write the name down and then decide who you're going to send out invites to later. And so a lot of the people that I ended up sending invites to were people from my church. We have like about 100 or so members and that sort of thing. And my church is great. I think a lot of people in my congregation not only responded with donations throughout the months leading to Agape Year, but during the year they were all praying for me, and reading my Facebook updates and that sort of thing. So my church was really great in supporting me in every way.
100 members. Now, Tessa, does your church have 100 members?
No, I have a really small church. We have maybe 30 members. So I had to go around to 6 or 7 different churches to share my story and share what I was going to be doing, and inviting all of the people in my area to walk alongside me in this process.
Yeah. Was that intimidating? Did you have help?
So it was really intimidating.
Yeah.
But my whole family would help drive me around because I didn't have my license. And I thought it was going to be really scary, but the churches ended up being so supportive, and they welcomed me. And there were people who I never thought would give me money, but they made a donation. Like, there was one boy who was terminally ill, and he gave me $2, and I cried. That was the most precious donation that I'd been given.
Yeah.
It's like the woman with the 2 coins.
Nice. Yeah, Erica and I raise our support for our family, and similarly, oftentimes there's hesitance on our part to ask people, just because we make that sort of assumption, not assumption, but that assumption of like, well, they're probably not in a position to say yes, or they wouldn't want to, and oftentimes those are some of the most meaningful partnerships, when folks come alongside you that you don't expect, and express that eagerness to be part of what you're doing. Kieran, you alluded to the prayer support that you got from folks at your church. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so throughout Agape Year, the fellows are encouraged to do Facebook posts for just to give the people who have sponsored you and your supporters a little look into everything that's going on. So at the forefront, it seems like, oh yeah, this is something that's for the supporters. But just as much as it's for the supporters, I feel like it's also beneficial to us having, I would always put fairly personal prayer requests at the end of each of my posts. And I could see a lot of like change and positive benefits from like the things that I saw that were happening on Agape Year that we were struggling with as a team and that sort of thing. And then I would like put it on my letter that went out for people to pray for. And then all of a sudden things would get like way better and that sort of thing. So I think oftentimes we underestimate like the power of prayer, especially the power of prayer through Facebook and that sort of thing, but it's real, and the supporters helped with that a lot.
Yeah. How about for you, Tessa, having that sort of community backing? What did that mean for you?
It was groundbreaking for me because I got to witness my church be there for me in ways that I hadn't seen before. Not that they hadn't supported me, but that I don't think I was as open to seeing the way that they supported me.
Mm-hmm.
But Agape Year, me being on it and me talking with my church more, I really got to see how much they were rooting for me and supporting me and praying for me. And it gave me the boost and the courage that I needed to actually do Agape Year, because I was really scared at first.
So if you guys were talking to someone who is thinking about doing Agape Year and is hesitant because of the price, or hesitant because of the thought of having to raise support at all, let alone the amount that's needed, what would you say? What would be the encouragement or words of warning that you would give them?
I would say, like, if God wants you there, he's going to get you there. You know, there were times, I mean, like, I especially felt confident, like, at the beginning, that, you know, God was going to provide the money if I was supposed to go to Agape Year. But there were times, especially getting closer to when the deadline was for, like, August and that sort of thing, like, hey, you know, the donations have kind of like slowed down, and I was thinking like, well, you know, what if I don't get it all like raised by the time that they go on Agape Year? And I was talking with, you know, my mom about that, and my mom was like, you know, if you're like almost to the goal and you don't raise everything, I don't think Nathan and Erica are gonna like boot you from the year and be like, denied, you can't come, like. So I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. And then we ended up getting the rest of it raised and that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, if you're really confident, you know, that God is calling you to do Agape Year, then money ain't no thing.
Tessa, before I pressed the record button, you said, wait, can I tell them that I was really scared and didn't think that it was going to happen? And I said, yes, absolutely.
Way to throw that back in her face.
I was really scared. I didn't think I was going to be able to raise the money. And in fact, I don't think I really raised the money at all. It was much more God like putting on people's hearts, so this was a good thing for them. And I also didn't get the money until the last day. Agape Year, like the first quarter of it had ended. And that was when I got the last of my money.
Yeah.
So if you're really nervous to raise the money, if you think you're not going to, or if that seems like the least likely thing that you want to do, like if it's the last on your list, I would still say do Agape Year, because I was all of those things. I didn't think I was going to raise it. I was scared, and I hate raising money, like honestly. But it was a humbling experience, and it was also an experience that gave me courage to trust that God was gonna catch me in that, but also to trust my community and my church that I'd made in Pittsburgh, who were offering support while I was worrying about raising the money, and also all of the churches back home. They all were really supportive, and I think you just got to remember that it's about the people and the experiences, and God's going to help you get that money.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be a really humbling thing to put yourself out there, to make the ask. And I think money is one of those things that's like one of those taboo topics. But that's, like you said, not something that should come between you and this experience that God has for you. So thank you guys. I hope that's of some encouragement to you if you are considering joining us with Agape Year. And so thank you, Kieran. Thank you, Tessa. Really appreciate you guys and sharing your experience.